There are often luxury cars parked in front of the arts coolant on the roadside. Various drinks are placed on the roof of the luxury cars. From time to time, young and beautiful female college students come forward to take the drinks and then get in the car. Soon, these luxury cars will shake rhythmically, and then they will drive to the hotel to book a room. My name is Yang Zin, and I am a designated driver. I'm not surprised by the above situations, especially on weekend nights. On Friday night, I took an order. The boss asked me to drive his Mavic to the entrance of the art school to pick up someone. While waiting for someone, I casually put an empty Red Bull can on the front of the car, played with my mobile phone, and waited for someone. Suddenly, a beautiful woman in a black miniskirt came over, smiled, and took the Red Bull can I put on the hood of the car, and then sat in the cupola. At first, I thought he was the person the boss asked me to pick up, but when I just sat in the driver's seat, he smiled and gave me an 8 gesture. Seeing that I hesitated for a moment, he smiled and said, "Hello, boss, 800. Once I heard him say this, I reacted immediately, blushed and asked awkwardly, "Excuse me, beauty, I'm here to pick someone up. Are you Lin Kyung-Koyon?" As I asked, I took out my phone and was about to compare the photo that the boss sent me. "Excuse me, boss, I got on the wrong car." The girl blushed and couldn't help laughing. She covered her mouth and laughed while opening the passenger door and walked out of the car awkwardly. After getting off the car, the beauty laughed for a while and suddenly looked back at me, deliberately teasing, "Boss, if you want to play next time, you can also find me. I'll give you a discount." He smiled and squinted his eyes, then twisted his long legs and walked across. Seeing her beautiful back, I fell into a period of contemplation. "Hello, did Boss Wang ask you to pick me up?" Just as I watched the beautiful woman's back completely disappear, suddenly a beautiful woman looked at my license plate, then looked at me undasked, nervously and awkwardly. "Are you Lin Kyung-Koyon?" "Hon?" He nodded shyly and looked around nervously as if he was afraid of being recognized by his classmates. I immediately opened the passenger door for him and let him sit in. She was wearing a JK short skirt uniform, and she looked very pure. She was obviously a little restrained when she got in, as if it was her first time. After I told her to fasten her seatbelt, I slowly drove the car out. Because I couldn't see her whole face clearly while driving, but just a glance at her side profile made people feel a little excited. She was really beautiful, but there was an indescribable feeling of pity under those deep eyes, which made me feel distressed. After driving for more than 20 minutes, the car arrived at a single-family villa in the suburbs. I drove the car into the boss's villa. At this time, a security guard in a black suit came over and signaled that I could stop the car and leave. After I parked the car, I couldn't help but look back at Lin Qian to remind her that we had arrived. He was looking at the scenery outside the window with his side face. He looked nervous, but I have to say that his side face and front face were so beautiful. After I got off, the little security guard immediately gave me 500 yuan in cash and signaled that I could leave. I took my electric bike out of the trunk of Mavic and prepared to ride away. "Brother, can you wait for me to leave together? I'm afraid I can't get a taxi here." Just as I was about to leave, Lin Qian suddenly took the initiative to speak to me in a low voice. I was stunned for a moment, looked at my electric bike, hesitated for a moment, and said, "Brother, don't worry, I won't let you wait in vain. I'll give you 1,000 later." Lin Qian said very cautiously. At this time, the little security guard next to him was obviously a little impatient and immediately urged me to leave quickly. Seeing that the electric gate of the villa was about to close, I had to ride my electric bike and drive out quickly. After I rode out of the gate of the villa, I looked back. At this time, Lin Qian followed the little security guard and looked back at me. Her eyes seemed to be expecting my consent. I don't know why, but after seeing this pair of clear eyes, I actually nodded. Maybe I really felt some sympathy or pity for her. After riding the electric bike to the outside of the villa, I stopped on the side of the road. I have to say that it is really quiet here at night, and it can even be said that it is a little scary. I couldn't help but smoke 2 cigarettes while watching short videos and waiting bored lie. After waiting for more than half an hour, the door of the villa opened. At a glance, I really saw a beautiful woman coming out of it. It was Lin Qiankai. After he came out, he looked around. When he saw me sitting on the side of the road not far away, a smile appeared on his face. He walked towards me in a hurry. I hurriedly rode the electric bike over. When I got close to him, I found that his clothes seemed to be torn a little, especially the Jake A short skirt, which had a crack on the side. Father took me back to school quickly. Lin Qiang came over anxiously and urged me to take him back to school with my electric car. But I knew in my heart that it would be difficult for my electric car to take him to her school. But seeing her so anxious and pitiful, I quickly let her sit on the electric car, but my electric car was really too small, and she sat in the back like a child's rocking car, which was too embarrassing. Big brother, hurry up. Lin Qian begged me in an almost begging tone and kept looking back at the gate of the villa. I could see that Lin Qian was a little scared or worried about something. Seeing that he was so scared, I also quickly started my electric car. But the horsepower of the electric car was too small, and with the weight of 2 people, it seemed the electric car would fall apart. The electric car was a little shaky when it was driven. Big brother, can you hurry up? Listening to Lin Qian's hurried voice, I also became worried and sympathetic. It seemed that this boss Wang might really be a pervert, and he scared Lin Qian directly. That's why the little girl wanted to leave here so eagerly, so I had to speed up the horsepower, but the power of the small electric car was indeed weak. Suddenly, at a downhill turn, the electric car fell directly. Fortunately, there was a grassy area next to it, and the 2 of us fell directly on the grass beside the road. Beauty, how are you? Are you okay? After falling, I quickly got up because I was worried that Lin Qian would be injured. When I walked over, fortunately, Lin Qian didn't have a big problem with the fall. She also got up and rubbed her ankle with her hands. But at this moment, I was extremely embarrassed because I found that there seemed to be nothing under her skirt. Brother, I'm fine. Lin Qian rubbed her ankle, then looked up at me. When she saw that my face was slightly red and my eyes were evasive, she subconsciously looked down. She instantly understood something and quickly put her legs together. Fortunately, both of us were fine and the electric car was not broken. After I fixed the bike, we continued to ride towards the road at the foot of the mountain. However, the electric bike began to shake after going down the mountain road. It turned out that the electric bike was running low on power. Finally, I had to stop at the roadside at the foot of the mountain. What's wrong with my brother? Why didn't he move? Seeing that I suddenly stopped, Lin Qian also looked at me with a puzzled look. I turned back and looked at her awkwardly. She subconsciously put her legs together again and jumped off the back seat of the electric bike. You put on my coat. I'll stop a car for you. You go back. My electric bike is out of power. I patted my small electric bike a little embarrassed lie and then took off my coat and prepared to hand it to Lin Qian. When Lin Qian saw the coat I suddenly handed over, she was stunned in place, looking at me with red eyes. Her lips moved, wanting to say something, but she didn't know what to say, and it happened that a taxi came not far away, so I immediately waved. After seeing this, Lin Qian suddenly said, by the way, brother will give you money as we agreed before. After Lin Qian finished speaking, she suddenly opened her bag quickly, took out 200 yuan bills from it and handed them to me. Seeing that I didn't take it, she added another 100 yuan and said with a smile, I'll give you 300 yuan. I hope I didn't waste your time. I'll return this dress to you another day. Seeing that I didn't take the money, she suddenly stepped forward and stuffed 300 yuan directly into my pants pocket, then turned around quickly and immediately sat on the back seat of the taxi that had just stopped. In this way, Lin Qian got on the taxi and slowly disappeared from my sight. When she sat in the back seat and left me, she smiled politely and waved to me. Looking at her sweet smile, I felt even more uncomfortable. I have to say that Lin Qian is really beautiful, but why does she do this? Is it because her family's conditions are too poor, so she has no choice but to do this? Thinking of this, I became even more depressed. If I had money, I would definitely let Lin Kong be my girlfriend, and I would never let her do this again, let alone let her suffer a little bit of injury and pain. In the next 2 days, I slept most of the daytime and worked as a designated driver at night. I thought that Lin Qian and I never meet again in this life. At about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I suddenly received a call. I didn't expect that it was Boss Wang who called me specially. Xiao Yang, as usual, Doctor picked someone up for me at 8 o'clock in the evening. To be honest, I didn't want to go at first, but Boss Wang paid a lot of money. He gave me 1,000 yuan each time, and he drove his Mavic to help pick someone up at the entrance of the art school. After a simple dinner, I came to a parking lot. The security guard at the entrance gave me the car key. After I went up, there was money in the envelope in the car. I opened it and saw that I didn't expect that this time I was given 2,000 yuan. With a little surprise, I came to the entrance of the art school. Because it was not the weekend, there were obviously fewer luxury cars at the entrance. After waiting for a while, a beautiful woman came and knocked on my car window. What surprised me was that the person who came was actually Lin Qian. When Lin Qian saw me, her eyes seemed to be filled with light instantly. She said with some surprise, "Brother, I didn't expect to meet again so soon, but I forgot to bring the coat you gave me last time." After Lin Qian came in, she made a naughty expression to me. Then she easily took out a lollipop from his bag and ate it. He took a bite and seemed to remember something, then took out another one and asked if I wanted to eat it. I politely refused, and then drove towards the Di Hao Hotel with a complicated mood, because this time Mr. Huang's destination was at the Di Hao Hotel. Along the way, Lin Qian chatted with me from time to time, which was completely different from the first time we met. However, when I thought about a beauty like Lin Quan being ruined by Mr. Wang, my heart was blah. Just as our car entered the parking lot, I suddenly received a call from Mr. Huang, Xiaoyan. I have something to do and can't go there. I will give this girl to you today. I have already paid the money. I was stunned for a moment when I heard this, and I was a little excited. I couldn't help but turn my head to look at the beautiful Lin Qian. At this time, Lin Qian's mobile phone also rang. Obviously, Boss Wang told him something. After Lin Qian answered the phone, she said to me shyly, "Brother Yang, Boss Wang just said that he wanted me to accompany you today. Why not in the car?" After Lin Qian finished speaking, she smiled shyly, then turned around and stretched out her hand to help me unbuckle my belt. He took the initiative to do this, and I was also scared, and then hurriedly grabbed his hand. Lin Qian saw that my face was flushed with nervousness and said with a smirk, "Brother Yang, no, you think I'm dirty, right?" Hearing what he said, I suddenly became more embarrassed. I didn't know what to say for a while, and I began to stutter. Then I said awkwardly, "No, I was too nervous here, and I was worried that there were cameras in the car." When Lin Qian heard what I said, her eyes suddenly became red, and then she said calmly, "Brother Yang, I didn't expect you to be such a good person. Why don't we go find a small hotel outside, and it's cheap and cost-effective?" Lin Qian said seriously, pointing out the car window. I have to say that looking at Lin Qian's delicate face and the breath of youth on her body instantly made my hormones. Under some strange circumstances, I followed Lin Qian out of the car. Then I quickly sent the car keys to the hotel front desk and waited for Boss Wang to arrange someone to pick up the car. When I came out of the hotel lobby after sending the keys, Lin Qian was still waiting for me with a smile. "Brother Yang, is there a cheaper hotel nearby, or an hourly room is also fine?" When I heard him say this, I immediately hesitated in embarrassment. I admit that I am also a dirty villain at this moment. After all, for a beauty like Lin Qian, it really makes me lose the charm of resistance. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Lin Qian turned around and smiled, then looked at the alley across the street and said, "Brother Yang, let's go and take a look across the street." Just like that, when I followed him, my thoughts were a little confused. I was the kind of person who felt uncomfortable and unwilling, but wanted to take advantage of her. Finally, when I was waiting for the traffic light, I stood beside her and suddenly couldn't help asking, "Lin Qian, why do you do this? Is it because your family conditions are not good?" After hearing this, Lin Qian's originally relaxed expression changed instantly. Suddenly, she turned around and looked at me with some rosy eyes and said, "If I were a rich second generation, do you think I would do this? It's because my family is too." When he said this, his voice was obviously choked up, and he suddenly stopped halfway through, probably because he didn't know how to say it later. Seeing her suddenly like this, I felt even more uncomfortable. For a moment, I didn't know what to do. I just followed him and walked forward, feeling that my feet were particularly heavy and my mood was particularly depressed. Soon, I followed Lin Qian into the alley. Not long after we entered, we saw a small hotel. It was a place for beautiful women and handsome men to stay. The price was 50 yuan for a 3-hour room. When an old lady saw us to enter, she smiled so hard that she couldn't close her mouth. Her eyes could not help but scan us. "Okay, open a room for us." After Lin Qian finished speaking, she handed over her ID card and 50 yuan in cash. The old lady looked at Lin Qian's ID card, then turned her head and looked at me standing behind her. "Young man, register your ID card as well. The check is strict now. You must register when you check in." Seeing this, I had to take out my ID card and handed it to the old lady. Then Lin Qian took the lead and walked towards the room on the second floor. I followed behind her, looking nervous and uneasy. Just as I was about to follow her up, the old lady came over with a smile and said, "Hanson, do you want a super thin condom?" Although his voice was not loud, my cheeks turned red all the way to my neck when I heard his voice. I quickly shook my head and walked towards the stairs to the second floor. After entering the room, I became even more nervous, as if I was about to do something wrong, and my heart was beating very fast. After Lin Qian came in, she threw her bag directly on the bed, and then took out her mobile phone and fiddled with it, as if she was texting someone. "Brother Yang, you can go in and take a hot bath first." After Lin Qian saw me come in, she seemed to be at a loss, and the whole person was obviously a lot more nervous. She smiled and reminded me. I nodded awkwardly and then walked into the bedroom. But after I went in, my whole mind was very confused. I wanted to, but I was afraid, and at the same time I couldn't bear it. Just when I was thinking about it and just turned on the faucet, I suddenly heard Lin Qian outside urgently saying, "Brother Yang, I'm sorry, I suddenly have something urgent to do and I have to go back. Next time, wait a minute, I will return the coat I gave you last time." Hearing this, I was a little dissatisfied. After taking a shower in a hurry, I found that Lin Qian had already left the hotel. Then I seemed to think of something and hurriedly took out my pants pockets on the bed to check. I found that my mobile phone, wallet, and other things were all there. Nothing was stolen. But I wondered why Im Ki-an suddenly left in a hurry at this time. Was there another boss looking for her? Then I put on my clothes, walked out of the hotel. When I came out, the hotel proprietors kept looking at me with a naughty smile but didn't say anything. Looking at her eyes, I felt like she was laughing at me. After leaving the hotel, I took the bus directly back, took my small electric car, and then changed into the designated driver's equipment ready to go out to take jobs. I was absent tonight when I was driving this night. From time to time, I thought of Lin Qian in my mind, especially her eyes. I couldn't forget them. Lin Qian is not the most beautiful girl I have ever seen, nor is she the girl with the best figure I have ever seen. But I often think of her inadvertently in the following days. I wanted to call or send a message to contact him, but suddenly I found that I didn't have any contact information for him. I just knew that he was a student of the art college, studying broadcasting and hosting. In the following days, I had no way to do it because I suddenly wanted to see her too much. I simply went to the art college to ask about Lin Qian when I was free, but it seemed that no one knew her. After a week, Lin Qian seemed to have really disappeared from my life. And every day, when I was free, I would go to the gate of the art school or go to the school to stroll around, trying to see Lin Qian again, because I really wanted to say to her, "Lin Qian, you be my girlfriend. I will support you in the future." After a few days of this, finally on Friday afternoon, I suddenly received a call from Mr. Huang again, asking me to drive his Maybach to the gate of the art school to pick someone up. Everything was the same as before, which made me excited and expectant, because I had driven this car to pick up Lin Qian twice before. Would it be Lin Qian again this time? At 6 o'clock in the evening, I drove Mr. Huang's Maybach to the gate of the art school on time. At this time, many luxury cars were waiting on the roadside. I fell into deep thought when I saw the luxury cars picking up the beauties and leaving. I waited quietly for 10 minutes, and suddenly a beautiful woman came over and opened the door of my copilot seat. At first I thought it would be Lin Qian, but when I turned my head and found that it was not Lin Qian, but a beautiful woman in a black short skirt. He still smiled shyly and asked, "Hello, did Mr. Huang ask you to pick me up? I saw that the last number of the license plate was 688. I was obviously disappointed to hear this. I thought it was to pick up Lin Qian, but this time Mr. Huang obviously changed somewhat. Although the girl in front of me is still very beautiful, my feeling about her is obviously different from that of Lin Qian. Seeing that I didn't speak, the beautiful woman retreated again, walked to the front of the car and stared at my license plate, then smiled and sat up. "Let's go, handsome guy." Boss Huang was talking about this car. It seemed that this girl was also an old hand. Since she was the one Boss Huang paid me to pick up, I couldn't refuse anything. I reminded her to fasten her seatbelt and then started the car. When the car was about to reach Boss Huang's villa, I suddenly couldn't help asking, "Beauty, do you know Lin Qian? It's also Lin Qian from your art college." "I don't know her." He said it a little awkwardly, but at this time his eyes looked at the villa outside. It was obvious that he was looking forward to it. Seeing his happy face, I felt a little uncomfortable. After all, this kind of thing is not a glorious thing. So, I couldn't help asking, "Beauty, how much do you charge for one time?" When he heard me ask this suddenly, his expression changed obviously. His face blushed, and he said angrily, "Handsome guy, what do you mean? Our home tutoring is charged by the hour. Do you think I'm a lady?" He also hinted that who is really a person? Why do you call others a lady when you see them? After he said this angrily, he rolled his eyes at me fiercely. At this moment, I may have realized that I did say the wrong thing and hurriedly said sorry. Soon I drove the car into the villa. According to the previous rules, after I drove the car into the villa, the little security guard came over and stopped me, and then asked me to turn off the engine and get out of the car. I gave him the key, took out the small electric car in the trunk and went back. But this time I didn't see a security guard. "You just park the car and let the beauty come in through the gate." At this time, when I was about to look around, suddenly a sound came from a camera on the wall in front. I heard the sound in the camera and nodded immediately. Then I reminded the beauty to go in. This beauty seemed to be the first time to come to such a big villa. She seemed to be very curious about the surrounding environment, so she looked around with some excitement. At this moment, I came to the trunk of the car, opened the trunk, and took out my electric car, but suddenly I heard a scream from the room, which sounded very scary. After all, this is a villa, so the surroundings are very quiet. The sudden scream did make us nervous, but I looked around and listened carefully, and I didn't hear any abnormal sound again. The beauty was obviously scared, but after seeing that she didn't hear any sound again, she walked into the villa carefully. But just when I got my electric bike and was about to leave on my electric bike, something suddenly fell from the villa. At first I thought it was a leaf or something that fell down. After all, it was at night and the light was not very strong. But when I looked down, it seemed to be 100 yuan bill, and it was folded into 1,000 paper cranes. I was stunned for a moment, but I was still very curious and quickly picked it up. I saw two words written on it, "Call 110 for help," and these words were read with a bloody smell, as if they were written in blood. The moment I saw these words, I was completely stunned and was instantly shocked. "Xiao Yang, don't go back yet. Help me bring this beauty in." Just when I was surprised, suddenly a familiar voice came from the camera again, and this voice turned out to be Boss Huang's. Okay, I pretended to be calm and agreed to Mr. Huang's request naturally. Then I took this beauty to the gate of the villa. To be honest, I have never been to the gate of this villa. When I took this beauty to the gate of the villa, I found that the decoration inside was really high-end. But after entering, we did not see Mr. Huang, but the little security guard who received me every time before. But today, the little security guard looked at me with something wrong. Beauty, I have brought her in for Mr. Huang, so I will leave first. After I brought this beauty into the living room, I thought about finding an opportunity to leave quickly. Because the life-saving note just now made me feel very scared, I must leave here first before I can seek help. If you want to leave, none of you can leave tonight. Just when I turned around and was about to leave, the security guard suddenly picked up a remote control and pressed it, and the gate was closed directly, and the curtains were automatically closed at the same time. Hearing what the security guard said, the beauty in front of me was obviously frightened and said trembling lie, I came here to tutor Miss Huang's son in English. Since he is not here, I want to go back. You have already taken my money. Why do you want to leave now? The security guard sat on the sofa calmly, lit a cigar, and then suddenly said this. The security guard's words immediately made me and the beauty stunned for a moment, and we looked at each other at the same time. Then the security guard smiled and said, I am Mr. Huang. The security guard's words immediately stunned me. My eyes widened, and I couldn't believe the person who came. While we were shocked, the young security guard said timidly that it must be Boss Wang who clapped his hands on purpose. Then 5 or 6 people who looked like thugs rushed out from inside. Before we could react, they directly shocked us with electric batons on the spot. When I woke up, I found that we were locked in a dark room, and there were several people around who timidly said that they must be several beautiful girls. I was dumbfounded when I saw this scene. I wanted to speak, but found that my mouth was sealed with black tape, and my hands and feet were also tied with ropes. I looked around through the weak light. In addition to seeing the beautiful woman who was locked up with me, I actually saw In Qian in a corner with injuries all over her body. The moment I saw In Qian, my eyes widened. I couldn't believe it at all. After such a short time, Lin Qian was tortured into this state. Although my mouth was sealed with black tape, I still tried to attract Lin Qian's attention by shouting. However, Lin Qian was still sleeping at this time, but the 2 girls next to her were looking at me in surprise. But at the same time, I also heard the sound of a whistle from afar, and then I seemed to hear the sound of waves. It seemed that we were in a cabin now. Unfortunately, because I wanted to shout as loudly as possible, Lin Qian was heard by the thugs outside. In an instant, the deck above the dark cabin opened, and a bright light shone in. Damn, I'm about to die, and I'm still making such a noise. One of the thugs cursed at me, and at the same time, a familiar voice came from the intercom of another thug, saying, Throw the lamb to the sea to feed the sharks. I knew very well that the voice was from Boss Wang, and it was obvious that Boss Wang wanted 2 people to silence them. Because when I sent this beauty in today, I picked up a note for help thrown by someone else, so I was involved. Soon after the voice landed, 3 men rushed down from the upper deck, and then 2 of them directly grabbed me and pulled me up desperately. This time I was obviously scared because they wanted to throw me into the sea to feed the sharks. Being thrown into such a deep sea, and in the dark night, I would definitely be eaten to death without leaving a single bone. A huge noise at this time frightened the girls, who were tied up nearby and trembled all over. Even Lin Qian, who had been sleeping, opened her eyes slightly at this moment. When he opened his eyes and saw that it was me, he was very excited and began to struggle desperately. At this time, he wanted to stand up and rescue me, so he had to be honest. But the next second, a thug took a whip and hit him hard on the body, knocking him to the ground and making him lie directly in the cabin. Because I had no way to fight with these thugs, I was dragged to the deck by them. I realized that our cruise ship was just a small one. I was pulled to the deck by them. Looking at the endless sea and the turbulent sea, I was obviously scared because my hands and feet were tied with ropes. As long as they pushed me into the sea, I would definitely not be able to survive. Hurry up, There's the high seas ahead, and we'll deal with them immediately when we get to the high seas. Soon, the voice of Mr. Huang came from the intercom of one of the thugs again, and then two of the thugs detained me next to the deck. This time, I was completely scared and terrified. At the moment when the two of them were about to push me into the sea, I even closed my eyes. Investment. At the moment when my body was falling into the sea, I seemed to be grabbed by someone's arm and pulled me out of the sea. I opened my eyes and saw that it was the beauty today. At this time, the two thugs who had just detained me were knocked to the ground directly. Don't move, you are looking for death. But soon several thugs rushed out from inside, and they actually rushed towards us with machetes in their hands. Police, don't move, you have been surrounded, surrender quickly. This time it was my turn to be shocked. I didn't expect that this beauty was actually a policeman. No wonder she could escape quietly and come to the deck to rescue me. When these thugs heard the police, they were also frightened and froze in place. They looked at each other and dared not act rashly. What are you doing? Kill him for me, the high seas are ahead. Suddenly, Boss Huang rushed out from behind them. Seeing that this beautiful woman was actually a police officer, he completely ignored the law and wanted to kill her to silence her. Soon, the first henchman who rushed up was kicked away by this beautiful woman. At this moment, a siren sounded in the distance, and soon several speedboats used by the Coast Guard rushed over quickly. These Coast Guards also carried weapons on purpose. Raise your hands, you have been surrounded. At first, there was another henchman who wanted to chop the beautiful policewoman with a knife, but soon he was hit in the arm by a bullet shot by the Coast Guard in the distance. All of these henchmen were scared silly. Everyone quickly threw down the long knives in their hands and squatted on the deck obediently. Soon, all the horses rushed up. Captain Zhao, it's a good thing you came in time, otherwise you would have to go out to the high seas. When the beautiful policewoman saw the leading policeman, she complained a little. Comrade Gu Jing worked hard. Only then did I understand that this beautiful policewoman was called Gu Jing, and she had been deliberately disguising herself as a girl from an art school. Soon Lin Qian was also rescued. It turned out that Lin Qian was not an ordinary female college student. She was a senior student in the Department of Journalism and now an intern reporter at a newspaper. A while ago, someone broke the news that two girls from the art school disappeared strangely, so Lin Qian decided to secretly investigate the matter. After a period of secret investigation, Lin Qian found that this Boss Huang was likely related to the two previous cases of missing girls. The real name of this Boss Huang is Huang Dai. Because he introduced the organ transplantation to a rich man before, after tasting the sweetness, he began to illegally engage in human trafficking. The two missing girls were actually Huang Dai, who lured the two girls to the villa through the internet. Then, after they got familiar with each other, the two inexperienced female college students lowered their vigilance and then quietly deceived them abroad through high-value reports, and then sold them to four criminal groups. Soon, the criminal group headed by Huang Dai was completely neutralized, and the leaders of several criminal organizations that were in contact with Huang Dai were also arrested with the cooperation of the criminal police. After that, I resumed my normal work as a designated driver, but now every time I go to the gate of the art school to pick someone up, in addition to the luxury cars, I can no longer see the drinks on the front of the car, because everyone knows that it is a criminal abyss, and it is difficult to get out once you jump in, and you may lose your life.